Right. Good evening. Welcome everyone to the executive meeting for the 13th of June tonight. The first item on the agenda is apologies for absence. Are there any apologies? No, we're all here. That's good to see. Second announcement is that just a reminder that we are all online tonight, going to the world. And so if you want to speak, please use your microphone so they can hear what we say. No further announcements, are there? No, that's it. Good. Okay, we'll move then to item 3, which is the minutes of the 14th of February. Members, members, we have before us the minutes from the committee meeting held on the 14th of February 2023. Are members content for the leader to sign the minutes? But I can see a couple of hands raised.
Thank you, Chairman. This will probably be the last time that we do it this way because of the changeover. On page 11, there's a statement that's attributed to me, which isn't really how I said it. So it said, Councillor Buckmouse said the council tax increase equated to approximately £189 across the year for a Band D property. Well, the increase was, I think, £5.30. The total amount of East Herts Precept is 189. I think that's what was actually said. So as we were there, I guess we're happy to bring the minutes as they were.
Okay. Yep. So we'll take a vote anyway. No. Yes. So we're going to agree those minutes with that amendment. That's okay. Or was there anything else? Graham, was there something?
Yeah, the old sort of executive here, so we sort of agree the minutes with the amendment.
Right. Oh, good. You're happy.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Nothing else. That's good. Okay. So with those amendments, then can we have a proposer, please? Thanks, Joe.
We're obviously I wasn't here, so we're proposing them on the basis that members that were here, or how should we do this? What's the best way to proceed? Because I don't think.
Yes, so you have to be members of the committee to propose it. So
is it acceptable to do it on this basis? Yeah,
it is. If you want to propose. Good. Thank you very much. Good to hear. Have we got a seconder? Lovely. Thanks. Thanks, Vicky. Right. Well, members, the minutes have been proposed and seconded. Can we take a vote? Can we have anyone for, please? A show of hands. But on the basis that it's agreed, but with those amendments and there's all witnesses. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Anyone against? That's okay. Thank you. And any abstentions? No. Okay, that's then carried. Good. Okay. Item 4 is any declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations? No. Okay. Great. So item 5 is the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act RIPA policy review. So this is on pages 15 to 96. And Councillor Joe Dumont, Executive Member for Corporate Services, is going to present this report. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Leader. So the RIPA, or the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act 2000, allows local authorities or prescribes local authorities to conduct covert surveillance in certain circumstances to prevent and detect certain crimes. Because of that, we are required to have a policy in place about how we would use these powers if we chose to do so. I think it's important to say that I think over the last 10 years, the council has not used these powers, but we are required to have a policy nonetheless. We are inspected to make sure that our policies are compliant and up to date with the most current version of the law. And we were inspected recently by the IPCO, who were very complimentary of what we had in place, but did recommend some updates to bring our policies up to date with the law as it stands as of this point in time. So those changes have been made to our policy, and because the changes have been made, this needs to be agreed by the executive.
So, so I can take it you're proposing,
I will
we-
propose this.
and is there a seconder? Lovely. Okay, mine, Councillor Goldsmith, thank you. Well, questions, comments, any comments and thoughts? Marnie?
Thank you, Leader. Thank you. And I thank my executive colleague for this report. I'm very glad that this is so carefully regulated, because I do worry about individuals' rights to privacy and their human rights. So I'm very glad that this is so tightly regulated, and we're strictly controlled as to what we can do. So I do thank the officers very much for working this out and setting it out so clearly. And I do fully support this proposed. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Any other comments, questions? Anyone? No? Oh, okay. Yeah, Alex.
I wanted to ask my colleague would agree with me, Councillor Dumont, that it's been through a rigorous process and that it has been, I noted it's been to overview and scrutiny, and therefore has had additional scrutiny from other councillors.
Yes, it has been through overview and scrutiny, and I've also got the utmost faith in officers who put the document together in the first place. And just, I think, to come back on Councillor Goldsmith as well, this is a policy we are required to have, but we're not currently using.
Fair enough. Last chance. Anything else? No? Okay, so the two recommendations, A and B, for this item are detailed on page 15 of the agenda pack. Do you want me to read them out? No? Okay, so please can we have a show of hands to indicate those in favour? Thank you. And those against? And any abstentions? No, okay, that is carried then. Thank you very much. Right, we come to item 6 on the agenda, which is the Hertford Theatre pricing strategy, which is on pages 97 to 116. Just got to remind members here that that Appendix C of the report, I think I used to call it a paper 2, was it? I can't remember. Part 2, that's what it was. So Appendix C of the report is restricted. And so if anyone would like to mention that specifically or talk about that specifically, we will have to exclude members of the public and obviously turn off the internet, turn off the web link. So with that in mind, I'll hand over to Councillor Sarah Hopewell, who will, Exec Member for Wellbeing, who will present the report. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Leader. So yes, the theatre project is on track for opening in spring next year. Myself and the Leader were lucky enough to have a tour of the site a couple of weeks ago, and it's looking really exciting. So a pricing strategy needs to be agreed. There's already quite a lot of interest in booking and developing the programme, but we need the pricing strategy to be agreed first. So it has been considered already at committee on the 31st of May by the Audit and Governance Committee. So now it needs to be considered in our meeting here as the next step. So I don't know if people have had people have had an opportunity to look through the papers, and if anyone's got any questions or anything they'd like to feedback.
So you're proposing the paper?
Yes.
Do we have a seconder for the paper? Okay, Vicky Glover Ward, thank you very much. So does anyone have comments, questions? Eric, would you like to start?
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, it's really good to see the progress being made for Hertford Theatre. I see the videos online, and it's such an important facility, not just for the town of Hertford, but for the wider district. So just some additional context, really, because all of the capital projects have been a long time in the making, so those completed are nearing completion. In fact, many of them started even before the last administration was when they were conceived. And of course, what we didn't know is as we got to the beginning of the last administration, we then have COVID, and then we'd have more recently the Ukrainian war and the impact of inflation on all of that. But working through the project board, it was really important that we did review the business plans. We looked at the capital requirements. So it's good that this work has been done, because it was also always the case that any of the facilities we ran and managed would go from having a subsidy to at least break even or certainly a profit. So really good to see this. I'm not going to refer to the part 2 item, that's not necessary, but it's good to see that we're able to then use the latest business plan to create something that with the officers' delegated authority will then enable the theatre to do very well in the future. Thank you, Leader.
Oh, thanks, Eric. And I should just pay tribute to you and to Jeff and to the team of councillors who were obviously as part of the last administration who drove this forward. And I think, you know, we've always got to recognise that. You know, that's really important. So thank you for all that work. And
thank you, Leader.
Mai?
Thank you, Leader. Oh, well, I would just like to say that I and my Lib Dem colleagues have had our misgivings about the Hertford Theatre project in the past. We have worried about the cost and the amount of borrowing that was going to be involved, which the council would have to replay. However, we do see now that the project is nearing completion, and we do not wish to be obstructive. We realise that if the theatre is to succeed, that the staff must now be in a position to take bookings, and they need to do this very soon if the theatre is to open next spring. I thank the officers for their detailed costings and for the new business plan. Obviously, a lot of work has gone into this, and I think therefore we must support what they are suggesting so that bookings can start. But I would think it would be really important that the whole situation should be kept under review, and the costs and the expenses and the general balance, that should be reviewed very carefully from time to time. But I would trust that the officers and staff will do this. Thank you, Leader.
Thanks, Marnie. Anyone else? Graham?
Thank you. I won't repeat what Eric said, I'll just echo his words. And it's really refreshing to hear from Councillor Goldsmith the words that she's just spoken about, the positivity of the theatre. I was just wondering, general question, on reporting 2.15, it says agreed at full council in March 2022, a report on finances and performance of the theatre will be provided to the Audit and Governance Committee annually. My question is, when would the first report be on an annual basis? Would it be not long after it's opened, or would it be 14 months after, or just sort of?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Let me throw that to officers. Any thoughts?
I will just say this is my, I've just stepped up into Jess's role as of about 4 hours ago.
Yes.
So I'm just going to defer to
Welcome.
my expert, Reese.
Welcome, Nick.
Thank you.
Tempted just to hand over to Stephen.
I'm happy for a written answer.
Yeah, I mean, we can, if we want to look at that. No, you're happy.
No,
to go?
no. I think we've taken a view. We're hoping to start the programme with our cinema programme in May 2024. So we should be able to report on the first 12 months at Audit and Governance in June 2025.
Are you- Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
any other comments? Chris?
Thank you, Leader. I'd mimic a lot of what Councillor Goldspink said. We have certainly had concerns about the level of investment in terms of all 4 capital projects going on at once, for one thing. And I was concerned when I saw that the starting point was, this is how much money we need to make. I don't think you'd start, that's not how you would decide pricing, I don't think, in any normal circumstance. But I am somewhat reassured by the fact that we're taking a sort of a day-to-day view or a week-to-week view on the ground to see if this is working or not. So as Councillor Goldspink also said, we just need to play it by ear and monitor it. And we have to go ahead with it now. So we will do. And I wish you every success.
Thank you. Any other comments, thoughts? No one tempted. Okay. Are we complete? Okay, so can we have a show of hands for those in favour of the paper? Thank you. Okay, anyone against? No. Anyone abstaining? No. No? Okay, that's great. So that's been carried. I wish there was another item, but there isn't. Well, there is actually urgent business. Is there any urgent business? Okay. Well, I think that concludes the meeting at 19:16. Is that a record?